Hey guys, I hope you're well. We're gonna make the most delicious Mediterranean-inspired fish stew. Couscous, tomatoes, lemon, olives, parsley. It's so quick and easy, and I think you're gonna love it. My family absolutely love it. So let's do this. Pan, medium-high heat. I've got two beautiful salmon fillets here, and this is so good for us. It's been pin-boned, but we've got the skin on as well. I'll just add a tiny bit of olive oil and a little bit of seasoning, and we'll start to cook this skin side down for 2 or 3 minutes, and it's gonna go really crispy, like a crackling, and get nice and golden. So, couscous. I think couscous, if you've never had it, is a brilliant thing to have at home. It's like a nice carb that you can do very, very quickly. It's quicker than rice. Get a bowl, and you want about 150 grams. All you have to do is pour boiling water over the top and give it about 1 centimetre on top. We can give it a little bit of olive oil, like that. And actually we can flavour it with many things, herbs. I actually like to use lemon zest, and that little bit of lemon zest will give it a freshness that will really cut through the fish later on. Put a lid on top. It's just gonna swell up and steam and be light and delicious. So look, this has had a couple of minutes. You can see what the heat of the pan is doing to the fish. You can see where it's changing colour here. That's where it's cooking the fish. So once it's got nice and crispy, just use some tongs to turn it over. See how crispy that skin looks, absolutely amazing. And I just want to fry it for 1 minute, not even that. So, while that's just doing that little bit of cooking, I'm going to slice up 2 cloves of garlic, then remove the fish just for a second. That fish is half cooked, which is great. That's what we want at the moment. We're going to go into the pan with the garlic. I'm going to take a little handful of olives. Then I'm going to finely slice the courgettes. Go as fine as you can. Get it into your pan. So let these fry off for a couple of minutes to get a little bit of colour, soften up and become delicious. So what we can add is a little bit of herb. I'm using parsley. Give it a little wash. Finely slice the stalks. The stalks are really sweet and delicious. And then I'll kind of roughly chop the leaves like that. Really fresh and delicious. As we start to get a little bit of colour on the courgettes here, we can turn it into our stew. Now what I like to do is just crush the tomatoes in my hand. Of course you can use a passata if you want, but you'll get better flavour from a whole tomato. So I break that up and put it over my shirt. It always happens, don't worry. And then with this empty tin, I'm just gonna put some cold water in there, about half a tin, and I pour that straight in there. We'll cook that out for like 5 minutes. Now look, the great thing I love about this one pot wonder, this fish stew, is you can make it your own, right? I'm gonna give you the basic recipe, but like I'm using salmon, you know, if you were in Morocco or Spain, they'd never use that. It'll be local fish, whitefish, prawns, you know, mussels, clams. You can really go to town and put a mixture in there, but also on the veggies, a little handful of peas, broad beans, a little asparagus. You can have fun with this. And in this dish, you've already got 2 of your 5 fruit and veg a day. So as this comes up to the boil, I'm gonna go back in with these salmon fillets here. Place this into this sauce, right? Turn it right down. Just have a little squeeze of lemon juice. Lid goes on top. About 5 minutes of gentle cooking is gonna allow the salmon to absorb that flavor and also flavor the sauce. And then I'll show you how to plate it up. You're gonna love it. So 5 minutes later, it's all done. It's that easy. I've turned the heat off actually, and it's quite nice sometimes just to kind of let it rest. So look, let me serve some up. The couscous is cool. Fork it up. Really, really nice. Have a little look at this. Gorgeous. Oh, it smells absolutely amazing. Take some of this sauce. The salmon goes on top like that. So look at that. So I've got the olives, a little bit of parsley on top. And then one thing I love to have with this is a little bit of yogurt. It works so well, just makes it heavenly. So there you go. That is a really simple recipe. My Mediterranean-inspired fish stew with couscous, tomatoes, olives, lemon, parsley. Come on, let's get in there. Wow. Mmm. Mmm. So here we got butternut squash, absolutely brilliant, love it. So I just want to carefully half it. Now, it's round, it's got a little skin on it, and if you're not careful, this can be dangerous. So please, 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 be very careful. Tip of the knife goes into the half, go straight down to the bottom, and use your weight to carefully take it down like that. Swivel it around, and we do exactly the same.
For this recipe, we only need half, so take out the seeds and cut into 3-centimetre chunks. Then pop into a roasting tray with a pinch of salt and pepper and a teaspoon of ground coriander.
They're coriander seeds ground up. You can get it in the supermarkets. You can get the seeds and pound them up yourself. Unbelievable with squash.
Add in just a teaspoon of oil.
Get your hands in and just have a little toss up. Notice the skin is on the squash. The skin for me is the best bit. It goes deliciously sweet and candy-like, but also it's where a lot of the nutrients are and the fibre. So really, really good. And squash specifically is really good for vitamin A, so it's good for your eyesight and eye function.
Slice and add 3 peppers to a separate roasting tray.
I really love peppers. Peppers, full of vitamin C, and of course when you roast them, they go outrageously sweet and gorgeous.
Season with salt and pepper, then add a teaspoon of smoked paprika for a big smoky flavour and a teaspoon of oil.
We're going to massage those flavours, seasonings into this. Look at that. That's flavour right there.
Put both trays of veg into the oven at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit, for around 30 to 35 minutes.
Get yourself a pan on. I like using a nice casserole-style pan. We're going to big up more veg.
To kickstart the stew, peel and roughly chop 2 onions, but reserve a quarter for the salsa later.
1 tablespoon of oil into the pan, just put it to one side, like that. Then we want to use bay leaves, these little bad boys. We want to get in there with 4, 5 or 6. Just get them in to the oil and they'll start to slowly fry, release their natural oils. They smell incredible and they'll give the base of the oil a sort of nice little perfume.
Crush in 4 cloves of garlic.
Then we can go in with our onions. Normally in cooking, you'd want to drench it in oil. And every tablespoon of oil, you're sort of pushing another 120, 130 calories. So let's just keep it clean. Let's be restrained. And what I want to do is really help the natural sweetness of the onion come out without loads and loads of fat. So a lovely way to do it is just take a little cup of water and just stop that frying. That little splash of water sort of stops the hard frying. It sort of dissipates the oil around every single little bit of onion, so it takes a long way. Also, it's sharing all the flavours, and as it naturally sort of cooks down and evaporates, then you've softened the onion to the point where we can turn it right down, right? And that's the key. With big flavour and vegetables, it is all about intensification and concentrating natural flavours. So roasting does that, and frying slowly does that.
When the onions have softened and intensified, add some balsamic vinegar and turn the heat back up to full whack.
I'm going to add the kind of hero of this dish, really, because the powerhouse of this dish is the black beans.
Put 2 tins of black beans and juice into the pan. Half fill both tins with water, swish it about and add back in.
So look, give them a nice stir here, bring it to the boil.
So that's the base for the stew done. Next, I need those gorgeous roasted veg.
The spices, they've stuck to it. So that's real flavour that we've got there. So let's just scrape that into our pan. We'll put in there. And then with the peppers, exactly the same. If I just put a little swig of water in there, that is all caramelisation, sweetness. That's all the juice of the peppers. That's almost like gravy. One more ingredient before we let that simmer, okra. Probably something that a lot of people haven't tried before. You can get it in the supermarkets, you can get it in the markets. This is absolute classic South America, the Caribbean, really, really good. What I love about it is if you finely slice it, it's kind of like a natural thickening agent, so you can put it in stews and soups and stuff, and it just makes it absolutely gorgeous.
Add 100 grams of okra to the stew. Turn down the heat and simmer for 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, time to make an amazing, colourful salsa. Salsas are just dreamy when it comes to contrast. It's going to be like light and shade.
Finely chop the quarter of onion, your coriander, then de-seed and finely chop 2 tomatoes, along with 1 chilli.
Then it's lime time. Just give it a little roll with your body weight. And there's another sort of great excuse for flavour. If you get one of these fine graters, they're a really great tool for superfood everyday eating, because what they do is allow you to extract flavour where maybe you wouldn't have got it before.
Add the zest and juice of a lime and bring it all together.
So salsa done. Look at that. An absolute picture. Time to serve up the best bit.
Serve your smoky bean stew with some brown rice, a dollop of yogurt, and a sprinkle of coriander.
And then, of course, our lovely salsa. Now it's had a little time just to sort of share the flavours, but a nice hit of that salsa. It's all about that. Let's not be shy. Right in there like that. And some of the juice, just pour that over the yogurt. Gorgeous. It's a really humble dish, but it's exciting. It's an absolute superfood classic. 4 of your 5 veg a day. You've got all of those elements you need in your dinners. You've got your carbs, you've got your dairy, you've got your protein, you've got your veggies. Beautiful. Let's try it. Oh, it's delicious. Investing that time in the vegetables just makes them sing. You've got to give that a try.
My runner bean stew and grilled monkfish is perfect for when you've got a bit of time to create something extra special this autumn.
If you go around the Mediterranean particularly, you're going to see all kinds of different recipes and different cultures embracing beans in all their different forms, really treating them with love, care, attention. So I want to kind of get you into that spirit. So first up, nice big casserole pan. Let's get this on a medium-high heat. I'm going to go a little thin layer of olive oil. I want to scent the oil so it's minty and delicious. And I want to make these mint leaves crispy so I can put them over the top to give you a nice little crunch. At this time of year in autumn, it is beautiful. The light is very different. It seems like it's always lower. And it's such a privilege to cook at this time of day in the afternoon. I love it. Put those to one side. I'm going to have this on a low heat. Let's have 2 or 3 cloves of garlic and just finely slice it. And this comes to join the lovely minty oil. Finely slice a red chilli. So garlic, mint oil, chilli. Some nice capers here, just a teaspoon. Got some anchovies, a couple, that's all you need. They're going to melt away and transform the humble bean. But look, it's sunny, but it's raining so hard, it's completely bonkers. Welcome to autumn, where the weather goes mad. Now, next up, leek. Before I chop this up, I've got a feeling, yes! Look at that. A beautiful rainbow. Actually, not one rainbow, I've got a double rainbow. Gotta be good luck. Right, let's get back to cooking. So I'm just gonna go for the white part of the leek. This I'll use for soups and stews. That will not go to waste. And then I'll strip it down the length and give this a little wash. Always wash away from the stalk. I'll just finely slice these like that. A beautiful beginning to this bean story. Remember, I've got some bolotti beans here, so I'm just going to put a few in, straight in. They're fresh, so they shouldn't need too much cooking. It doesn't matter if you use fresh beans, jarred beans, tin beans, or even frozen beans. Like, what's nice is that you're putting the love and the care into it. Right, our little base here is doing very nicely. I've turned the heat up a little bit, and I'm going to give it a little wine. So we're going from frying now to simmering, and we'll cook that wine away. Right, the potatoes. Let's nick all the small ones. And then with the bigger ones, cut these into 2-centimetre dice. I've got 2 tins of good quality plum tomatoes. A little basic seasoning of salt and pepper. Gonna just get a little bit of water in here. That helps to clean the tin as well. Okay, let's prep some more beans. This is a dedicated runner bean cutter. There's a really tough bit that runs down here. So if you put it through here, what it does is throw out these tough bits, genius, and then cut the whole inner bit. If you haven't got one, get a speed peeler, get rid of that horrible stringy bit, and then what we do is we can just cut it into little diamonds, and I rather like that as well. And now we just let that slowly tick over for like 20 minutes or so. So, lid on. Right, fish. How can we make fish utterly delicious? Now, this is a piece of monkfish, but you could apply this principle and this recipe that I'm gonna do to any white fish. We're gonna roast this and treat it almost like a roasting joint of meat. I wanna do a little rub, a little seasoning. So, I'm gonna take some rosemary, which is often associated with meat. Take a little bit of parsley and get a fine grater, and you want just the zest of the lemon. Then just finely chop it. Black pepper, not salt. I'm not gonna use any salt at all. And then roll it up like that. Let me give you a handy little tip to make your everyday fish extraordinary. A little bit of olive oil on there. I've got a pack of pancetta from the supermarket. You could even use British smoked bacon. Lay it out. I'm gonna wrap this beautiful monkfish. The natural fats here are gonna render and go golden, and it's gonna baste the fish for you. It's kind of protecting the fish, and it's gonna really guarantee you some really good flavor. I love recipes like that. I've got one last thing that I wanna do, and that's some Parmesan. Not even 30 grams, right? And this is gonna make it taste great and stick to the fish. Get your fish like that. We're gonna roll it up. Just peel it off like that. That's why we put the oil on it. And roll it up nice and tight. Put a little oil in the pan. Put it onto a high heat. Get yourself a little bit of rosemary. Some garlic, maybe a chili in there. Slice up a lemon in that lovely oil. The second it starts to sizzle, we can turn this off and get it straight into a screaming hot oven. It's about 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. So cook that for about 15 minutes until the pancetta is golden and gorgeous, and then I'll pair it up with that incredible runner bean stew, and that is going to be a match made in heaven. The smells, it's sizzling away. Look at this. Just angle the pan so it gathers all the lovely fats and just baste it over like that. Just let that rest for a little bit. Let's serve up this beautiful stew, celebrating that beanie bounty from the garden in autumn. And then this incredible monkfish, we've let it rest. Just slice it. Oh, pearly white, juicy fish, crispy bacon. Right, I want to do a little portion. Do you remember these? The little mint leaves? Let's have a try. Those beans are a joy. Big flavour, the mint, the garlic, the capers, the anchovies. Really, really beautiful. Those potatoes have absorbed so much flavour, as have the beans. Right, let's go for a little bit of that monkfish with the bacon. We are going to make a succulent lamb stew. It's utterly delicious.
Made with beautiful lamb shoulder, mixed olives, plum tomatoes, fresh rosemary, and cheeky little silver skin pickled onions.
It's that kind of comfort food that makes you really, really happy. It feels like you have to work really hard to achieve such big flavours. You don't. 5-6 minutes of putting it together, then bang it in the oven and let that oven do all the hard work. So fast but slow cooking. I like that. Now, the cut of lamb that I'm using is a beautiful shoulder of lamb. And the shoulder of lamb is one of my favourite cuts. The butcher has removed it off the bone, and when this cooks a couple of hours until tender, it's just going to melt in the mouth. The flavour is going to be awesome.
This is so fast to put together, I'm going to get all my ingredients out and ready. So grab 150 grams of mixed olives and 2 tins of plum tomatoes.
And then, maybe the surprise one, silver-skinned pickled onions. That kind of acidity riffs off of the richness of the lamb beautifully. Last ingredient is a good old favourite, rosemary. So beautiful. Just a nice little wodge of this. Cold pan, whack it on. Now we'll start cooking. Go in with a little oil. We want to start with flavour. So just take your rosemary stick, clasp it like that, pull it like that, easy peasy, and then into the pan. What I want to achieve is crispy bits for sprinkling. Crispy bits to go on a nice sort of stodgy, comforting stew. Also, we're creating the most beautiful rosemary oil that's going to be the first beginnings of flavour.
In less than a minute, the rosemary crisps up a treat. So remove, freeing the pan up for the lamb.
I want to slice the lamb into sort of 3 centimetre chunks. And we're going to go skin side down into the pan. Let's get some colour going. Let's get some attitude happening. I'm going to season it fairly heavily with black pepper. And try and just have one layer of meat and not too sort of close to each other. That way it's going to kind of really brown and not boil. And I like that. Let's have a little wash up. Clean board. Now, silver-skinned pickled onions. They kind of pop sweetness and gorgeousness. It's all peeled for me, so that's convenient. And also, it's been pickled and seasoned. So it's packing a really big punch for one ingredient.
Remove from the vinegar and add all the onions from a 280 gram jar. It's a top trick to get big flavour fast.
And let them scald a little bit, get some colour going. Now, to go with this, we've got some beautiful green and black olives here, and really important little tip, get them with the stones in, always. Better texture, better flavour.
Simply squash with a jar, pull out the stones, then add to the pan, along with 2 tins of plum tomatoes.
So look, get your fork and just mush up all those tomatoes. You know, you want it to cook out to a nice little sauce. And I don't need to season this dish. There's enough salt in the olives and the pickled onions to really season the tomatoes and the lamb in the most beautiful way. And then last but not least, pour in 2 cans of water and that will cook down. And it's going to be really, really nice. So lid on and whack it in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius, which is 325 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 2 hours until the meat just falls apart and that sauce has cooked down. And now I've got a couple of hours to do whatever I like.
Just 6 minutes to prep, and then the oven does all the work for you. This delicious stew couldn't be simpler.
So, it smells fantastic. Look at that. Get it on a platter. Really, really good. Everything here now is soft and silky and comforting. But don't forget, we've got the crispy rosemary. That's going to be lovely. All I do now is a little bit of black pepper. Delicious. Simple, but very scrumptious. Time to have a little taste. What should we go for? Let's get some of that tender meat. Look at that. Bit of everything, all in one mouthful. Come on. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
That's big flavour.
Jamie Oliver here, very excited. We're going to cook a beautiful, slow-cooked beef stew, and we're going to use the cut, which is oxtail. And then I'm going to show you 3 ways to take it. A fantastic oxtail stew with mash and greens, beautiful oxtail pappardelle with lovely ragu of bashed up stew, incredible. You could do a beautiful bit of oxtail soup. You're going to love this one. First up, I need 2.5 kilos of oxtail. You can get this from any butcher's. Melt in your mouth, sweet and gorgeous. And for those of you that don't know, oxtail stew is made from the ox's tail. And of course, any meat cooked on the bone is going to give you maximum flavour. So it's going to be the heartiest, most delicious stew out there. I want to very generously season it with black pepper and sea salt, just a little bit of oil. I've got the oven on full whack and I've preheated a tray straight in there. So we're going to roast that until golden brown. Around about 20 minutes should do it. So with any kind of stew, we've got lovely fragrant vegetables. Carrots, celery, and 2 humdingers of leeks. We need a nice casserole style pan, a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. Let's put in carrots, celery. We'll go in with the leeks. Just 3 or 4 little cloves. They honestly will, they'll make a difference. So that goes into the base. Good pinch of salt and pepper. This is our woody herb selection here. Rosemary, thyme, and bay. And they'll give a savouriness and flavour that is just undeniable. Let's cook this for another 10 minutes. Let that oxtail roast for another 10 minutes. Fast forward it and I'll come back and tell you what to do next. Okay, lovely people. Have a little look in here. That's not actually burnt, that's caramelisation. And if you try a little bit, big flavour, big sweetness. I want some thickening agent. 2 heaped tablespoons of flour. That will pick up all the residual oil that was originally put in there. And then we're going to use some porter. The malt in there is caramelised. It's just big, squodgy, wodgy, loving little flavours, right? And we want that. About 280 mils goes in there. The first job of the porter is to sort of take all the sticky caramelised goodness off the bottom. We're going to go in with 2 tins of tomatoes. Just bash those up, they'll fall apart in the long cooking. I'm going to get the oxtail out and I'm going to go straight in to the pan with all of that oxtail. And you're going to fill the pan up. Look at that. Add the water just to cover. It's going to bring all the flavour out of the bone. Put a little lid on top and I'm going to cook that now for 5 to 6 hours at 150 degrees Celsius. Just let time do the magic. Okay guys, this has had 6 hours cooking, slow cooking. Look at that, absolute gooey, tender, meaty heaven. Look at the depth of colour and flavour we got here. Absolutely fantastic. What you can do is serve it like this on the bone, or what I'm going to do is I normally let it cool down a little bit. You can put on some rubber gloves, take a piece of the oxtail, and we just pinch it, really. And you can see how lovely and tender that is. It's so close to the bone, the flavour is ridiculous, okay? And you just clean that bone and it comes away. I've just taken a couple of minutes to strip all this meat off the bone. Notice that there's a big old rim around here, and that is flavour. That'll be more delicious, more natural, and more brilliant than any stock cube on the planet. And then what I'm going to do is have a little taste. Right, so now I want to season it with a little salt. I'm going to use a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. About 1 tablespoon is probably sufficient. You can use that beautiful oxtail in so many different ways. First up, I'm going to put some pappardelle in. This is fresh, but you could use dried. Take a little spoon of this sauce, right? 4 spoons of that is more than enough. And then I'm just going to take a little parmesan. I'm using it as a kind of link between the pasta and the pasta water. And I'll add that to my lovely oxtail, and it will make it stick around the pasta. So now the pasta's ready. Drag it over, and then all we want to do is just move it around. Oxtail, pappardelle, such a celebration of that wonderful cut. Finish it with a little bit of parmesan, gorgeous. If I take a spoon of mashed potato and then a spoon of the oxtail with some quickly boiled kales, that's a really nice little dinner right there. If I wanted to make a beautiful little soup, take some of that lovely oxtail stew and we'll take some of the water and just take it to the consistency that you want, a little crostini off the side of a bowl, and that is beautiful. So guys, soup, stew and mash, and beautiful pappardelle, all made from the gorgeous oxtail. Lots of love, guys. Thanks ever so much. I'm going to do a fantastic meat dish, bigging up all of my peppers. I'm using pork shoulder here. It's off the bone. This is a great cut of meat because it's good value. I've got 2 kilos there. Just score it like that, and you can score down to the meat like that, and then that way. I'm just going to season it up with salt, pepper. Pick it up, I'm going to put it straight into the old pan. Now, skin side down first because I want to render the fat out. You can put a little bit of olive oil in there if you want to just help it along. So, you want about 700 grams-ish of nice peppers, and I'm not talking about heat or chilies, I'm talking about lovely, fruity, incredible peppers. Take the ends off. Take out the seeds. Don't waste this bit. Peel it off. It's all good stuff. Now, once you've got all the seeds out, gather them all up. And now what I want to do, in no particular order, is just slice up as soon as you probably can, but don't be too worried about it. So chop these peppers up, put them over here. Now let's have a look at this pork. Look at that beautiful colour. Put this back out here. In with the peppers. Wonderful colours. In with 2 heaped dessert spoons of paprika. And I think this is really interesting, the way that you can use the fresh and dried, a good pinch of salt, a bit of pepper, and then spice-wise, I'm using caraway seeds here. Just 2 teaspoons. I'll put that in the flavour shaker, or you could use a pestle and mortar, straight in, just crack it. So once you've done that, in with the caraway seeds. So I've got these beautiful jarred peppers here. The thing I love about this is that if I was going to blacken this amount of peppers, it takes a bit of time, and if you're lazy, and we all can be, this is good. Chop it up, in with the peppers, like that. Onions, I want 2 onions, red onions, peeled and in half. I'm just going to finely slice these. In with the onions. From the herb department, marjoram or oregano. So just pull it off the stalks, like that. Get the marjoram in. I'm going to pour in a tin of tomatoes. Not a classic ingredient, but it does give it a richness. So big flavours. Perfect for this time of year. Weather's closing in, you want something to warm your cockles. Right. Shoulder, push it right to the bottom, and then try and make a deal of pulling these peppers in and around this pork, smearing it over the top, and it's all going to cook together. And then you could use stock, but actually I'm just going to use water. I just want to cover it. And then vinegar, very important, about 4 tablespoons of good red wine vinegar to give it that twang. Lid on top, bring it to the boil, and then I'm going to put that in an oven for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours at 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. And like the only time you know when it's cooked is when you can get 2 forks and pull away the meat. And if it's just like sticky and gorgeous and moirish and just comes away easily, rock and roll. If it's not, back in the oven and just be patient. Goulash has had 2.5, 2 3/4 hours. I've put some rice on, some basmati long grain rice into some salted boiling water. 10 minutes of boiling. I'm going to drain this little baby over here. I just want a plain, nice white rice. Catch some of that water. Just about half a pint of water in the bottom. Keep the heat on. Cover it with tin foil, or in this case, a plate. That'll steam, that'll go lovely and light. And, you know, I like rice just plain like that because, let's be honest, we have got one of the most incredible stews. And the whole room smells incredible. Yeah! Let's have a look. Look at that. Oh, look at that. You can put your finger straight through it. Ah, hot. Let's have a little look. Oh, yeah. That's brilliant. Let's try and mix this up. It should just fall apart. That is how you know you've got a wonderfully cooked bit of meat. Now, at this point, doesn't matter how you follow the recipe, what ingredients you use, you've got to taste now and balance. So, peppers there, sweetness. There's a little bit of a hum there of the caraway. It's fantastic. So to serve it, I'll put it in one of these. Help yourself, middle of the table. It's a real stew with personality. Hungarian style-y. I just love it. One more. Happy days. Look at that. Wow. And then with the rice, and there's something lovely about the nuttiness of simply cooked rice, but I'm not happy yet. I want to bring an element of freshness to that really robust flavour. So I've got some sour cream, I've got some parsley, handful of parsley. I want my knife. I'm going to chop this little fella here up. I'm going to put most of it in there. Lemon zest. I'm not going to use lemon juice, just lemon zest. Delicious, really, really good. Stir it up, like that. You can get a nice little wodge of this in here. Serve that at the table as well, and then as your guests come around the table, get another big old ladle of that and just let it melt its way around. It's a real dish of attitude, that one. I like that.